You're watching Let's with Ayuma.
Hey, I'm Ayuma Michelle and welcome to Let's with Ayuma. This is an online safe space that I started to empower progressive women from all around the world, just like you and I, to thrive with purpose. Today, I'll be talking about why I'm back into therapy. I'll get into the juicy story in just a bit, but you know what time it is, okay? If you've been watching my channel for quite some time now and you're yet to subscribe, clearly it means you love my content. So please do consider subscribing, okay? And if this is your very first time on my channel, welcome. Please do watch this video and watch another one, and if you dig it, subscribe, okay? And also, because we are women of abundance and we like empowering our circles as we grow up, as we go up, please, if you love this video and you find it to be meaningful to you, please share it with another woman in your life so that as you thrive, she's also thriving, okay? Great! So now, back into today's topic. Today, I'm going to be talking about why I'm back in therapy. Why I'm back into therapy. Disclaimer. When somebody talks about therapy, it's not that they are crazy, it's not that they are mad, it's not that they have completely lost control of their lives. Sometimes when somebody gets into therapy, it just means that they are going to get help from somebody who is qualified, somebody who's an expert in mental health issues or expert in a certain area of life or topic, and so they're simply going to equip themselves with tools beyond what they know, with language beyond what they know. That's the importance of therapy. And therapy isn't always for when things are bad, like when the world is about to end, things are breaking, things are falling apart. In fact, what I keep hearing from people who are like, let's say, family therapists or even marriage therapists, they actually say the best time to go for therapy is when things are actually good. So that is the time when people can use a good language. That's when things are good and you can communicate some of your unmet needs or some of your needs in a way that at least the other person is able to receive. Not when things are so tense, not when fights have already begun, not when one string is left that's keeping this relationship going, that's when you go for therapy. Of course, you can still go for therapy then, but it will be so much harder because people's egos are blocking them from willing to communicate or be vulnerable or ask for help or ask for forgiveness, things like those. And sometimes it's not necessarily for couples, sometimes it's with self. Sometimes it's easier to get therapy when you're still in a good state, when you're still in a healthy state, and not when literally you're in crisis, because sometimes you may not be able to think clearly or soberly, or you're dealing with a crisis, so you're not maybe able to deal with the problem. You are actually you're firefighting. You're basically firefighting more than actually preventing the fire from starting in the first place. So that's why I'm back in therapy, and I need to bring in story time. So if you watched my previous video, I'll link it above. If you've watched my previous video, you'll probably get to know, you'll get to understand why an event that recently happened to me, and it triggered a couple of things, a couple of memories, a couple of traumatic memories. It triggered a couple of feelings that were maybe unresolved or just many things unearthed. So I could see a week after that event, I could see that I was struggling a bit. Not too much. I was struggling a bit with my thoughts. I was struggling a bit with with anxiety. I was also struggling a bit with even work. And so before things got too far, I remember sharing, what had happened to me with a friend and what was happening to me with a friend. And she actually said that, hey, I'm actually going through therapy. and some of the things you're talking about, my therapist is actually helping me with handling it. And I found that my friend was so wise, because she had me say some of the things that she's going through, and some of the events and some of the feelings that she's struggling with. And then she was able to actually create a safe space, not only for me to share what I was going through, but also she created a safe space for me to know that, by the way, there's nothing ugly or scary about therapy. She said, hey, I am going through therapy to help me sort out this particular issue. And a beautiful thing about that is that it helped me know that, by the way, sometimes you can be going through some things and then you expect your immediate circle or your loved ones to understand. But I think it's quite unfair, because your loved ones, yes, they can only help you to a certain extent. They can only understand that language of what you're going through to a particular extent. And also they only have particular tools that they are personally empowered with. So imagine expecting your loved ones to carry this burden, or your friends, or your whoever it is that you normally share tough times with. They can only do so much for you. And so I think it's very responsible of what my friend said, that, hey, I think it would be good for you to also seek therapy, because a therapist is somebody who's a professional in this area. And secondly, a therapist has more tools and more language than what I do have to help me address some of the issues that I was going through. And so I reached out to this amazing therapist. She's called Brenda. I'll share her details below. And I've already started working with her. And I tell you, just from the very first consultation, I became so grateful. So grateful of the process and the progress I've made in my personal life. Because even last year, I also did therapy. But I just think, with therapists, it also matters. Like, do you understand each other? I think the challenge I had with therapy last year is that the therapist I got to work with, she was a bit older. She was much older. And I think she wasn't versed with maybe some things that young people are going through. And also sometimes because of also there was a spiritual aspect to that connection. I think maybe there wasn't a separation between faith and there wasn't a separation. I don't like using the word religion because I don't subscribe to religion. I'm a person of faith. I'm a person of Christian faith. So there was an intrusion of the Christian faith principles to the therapy part. So there wasn't a separation. And I just needed that separation at that point. So that's why I didn't continue with that particular therapist. But she's amazing at what she does. And again, sometimes people can only help you to the extent of what they're exposed to. So the fact that this lady was a bit older, I mean, there's some things I was sharing with her and she was like, wow. She was a bit shocked. She was a bit shocked to some of the things I would tell her. And so I was like, okay, there's a capacity issue here and an exposure issue here. So let me go for a therapist who's a little bit younger, who would understand some of the things that I tell her so that she's not shocked, and also one who understands a separation between therapy as, an actual intervention, medical intervention versus, the spiritual aspect. It's very important. I'm a person of faith, but I also believe that it's important for a therapist to know the difference between this is an intervention of faith and this is an intervention of therapy. I really take that seriously because there's a place for everything. Okay, so I also watched a particular video by Mel Robbins. She's an amazing author, lawyer, and motivational speaker. But something that I love the most about her is that she's a coach, and she helps people to understand how their brains work and also to transform their brains from how they're thinking to more healthier patterns. So I watched this video, and I'll share a link to it. I watched it on Instagram, and what I loved about this video is that she actually affirmed something that I've been feeling for a long time, that also my clients have been feeling for a long time, but we've been struggling with expressing it. Why? Because society somehow expects us to be keeping on as if everything is normal, but it's not really normal. So I'll just paraphrase what she said. She said that the fact as a human race, we can't expect that we are normal. She said that most of us are actually in fight or flight mode, and that because we have been exposed to this global pandemic, which is tough in itself, but even more, the fact that we've been exposed to a high level of uncertainty for a prolonged period of time. And so what this does to us is that most of us are actually in flight or fight mode. So if you find yourself having anxiety attacks or panic attacks or struggling with uncertainty or things like those, or stress, know that that is actually normal considering what we are going through, and that there's nothing wrong with you. Then what you do is follow up, equip yourself and empower yourself with tools and language that then enables you to ground yourself. Because uncertainty makes you feel like you're somewhere in the abyss or somewhere floating in the air. You don't know whether you're facing up or down. You don't know whether you're in yesterday or tomorrow. You just don't know. So the important thing is to learn and equip yourself and empower yourself with tools that will help you ground yourself. Ground yourself with language that is empowering and that helps you locate yourself, sort of like your true north in this season. Ground yourself with tools and practices and habits that then will empower you to navigate this season, because we don't know for how long this pandemic will be around. And even after this pandemic, we never know when that will be, but even afterwards, things are never going back into normal. Things are never going to go back to whatever we knew as normal. In fact, we have evolved. All of us have evolved. We become new people. And so I think that's why it's important to incorporate the support of experts like therapists to help us make sense of these evolved selves that we become, to make sense of the new language that we are using to express ourselves, but also communicate the kind of experiences that we are having and communicate the feelings that we are having. Some of us have been really battling with big feelings, and so helping us communicate and learn what language is that, right? And so that's why I went into therapy. And I just like to encourage you to know that if you're struggling, you're not alone. If you're feeling tired, fatigued, and overwhelmed, please take a break. And taking a break does not mean you're giving up. Taking a break does not mean you're stopping completely. Of course, there are things which, if you analyze and get the help of friends and experts, you need to stop. But then there are some things which you can gift yourself with just a pause. Like what happened to me yesterday. Yesterday, I was struggling with some big feelings, and I was struggling with some anxiety. And then instead of forcing myself to work, instead of forcing myself to go open up my laptop and work on this big pitch that I'm working on for another client, a big client, I needed to remind myself, hey, Ayuma, this client is not running away. If anything, this client, I gave myself permission to communicate the reason for the delay to my client, to my potential client. And the client was like, no, don't rush. Like, there's no need to rush. So I was like, by the way, why do I feel like the need to rush? Yet my client has already told me, hey, don't rush, So, and then also I needed to ground myself and give myself permission to just give myself a day off. I gave myself a day off. I went somewhere, like just on a day out to do some random errands with my mom. And I love being outside in the sun, being outside talking about other things. It really grounded me and it really helped me relax. And it helped me know that I am not a slave to my work, but I can gift myself with a break. And taking a pause or giving myself with a break does not mean I am weak. It does not mean that I'm incompetent. It does not mean that I am not fierce or driven as an entrepreneur, but it just simply means that I'm somebody who's gracious to myself. And in fact, it's a strength to know that I can stop when I need to stop, right? So, most of us are going through this pandemic, and sometimes we feel like we need to keep going. We need to keep grinding. We need to keep chasing that money. We need to keep chasing clients. But guess what? You're not a slave to that. You're not a slave to the grind. You're not a slave to money. You're not a slave to your clients. You're not a slave to some of the lifestyle things that maybe afford you certain things. You are you before anything else, and you are worthy of rest. You are worthy of taking a break, because all those other things, they are byproducts of what comes from a filled cup. You can't pour from an empty cup. So I just want to encourage you to please check yourself. Is your cup full, or is it empty, or is it midway? Because for you to deliciously serve us and the rest of the world, we need your cup to remain full, so that as it overflows, the rest of us, we get to be served by you from the saucer. But your cup needs to remain full. So please don't deny yourself so that the rest of us can be served by you. That in fact, we will feel it. It will not be coming from a place of abundance. It will be coming from a place of lack and limitation. So please fill your cup so that you can serve us with your deliciousness. Also, something that I'm learning through this therapy season is that when one area of your life is really getting attacked and it's not getting catered to, it drives a wedge and it spirals into other areas of your life. So a thing that I was really struggling with, like as I shared with you, this particular event that happened at a studio when I was working on my voiceover work, and it's because it's connected to a man, it really unearthed lots of triggers and lots of unfinished business in me. And so that means it trickled into other areas of your life. It trickled into my my emotional health. It also trickled into even my work life. Like, how was I able to be productive? I wasn't. It also started trickling into an area of my life. It started unearthing lots of things. It's sort of like a wound and a gift at the same time. But it unearthed other areas of my life. For example, my finances. I was like, wow, there's something here about my financial health and my financial life. And I need to take care of this, And then it also, and especially with the financial, it unearthed money wounds. What I call it is money wounds. Wounds that are connected to your relationship with money. So I noted that my financial journey is actually affected by my default mindset, especially when I'm triggered by something and where my mind goes by default whenever I'm triggered. So I realized that, wow, if I do not sort out this thing, it will also end up affecting my emotional health and also my financial health. And another thing that I learned from my coach, my business coach, he's so gracious. One time we were doing an analysis of where my finances are, where my business is at the beginning of the year. And he actually told me, hey, Ayuma, I think you've actually neglected your dating life. And if I must be honest, it's because I feel like in some way, I don't know why, but I felt like my dating life is beyond my control. I don't know why I felt that way, but I felt like it's beyond my control. It's something that I can't control. It's something that is beyond me. It's something that it's beyond me. But if I must be honest, what I came to realize, especially after this whole thing unearthed so many things, is that I actually learned that I'm scared. I'm scared of dating. It made me realize that I'm actually scared of dating. I'm scared of being vulnerable again. I'm scared of putting in the effort again and having my heart broken. It made me feel scared of also investing so much money, time, effort into something and just doing it afraid, doing it without knowing whether this person is going to reciprocate the love and the care and attention and affection. And especially, I think because I'm already going through enough and handling so many things, I just feel like, oh my God, will this be an extra thing on top of everything I'm trying to navigate through during this pandemic? So I think what my coach told me was very important, because it made me learn that I'm kind of scared to fall in love again. And I'm scared of dating because I put myself out there before, and then I got my heart broken, and it takes me a long while to actually heal, because I'm a giver and I'm a nurturing person. So I don't know this thing which people normally say, give somebody 20%, then after 20% give them 30, then after 30 give them 4. I do not know that. I don't know what that kind. In fact, I feel it's manipulative, because why would you give somebody just a part? For me, I normally go into an experience wholly, and not that I trust too quickly, but that I go wholly as a Youre. So this is something I'm also working on with my therapist, and hopefully I'm not saying that by the end of this therapy I'm going to have a bae, or I'm going to have a boo or a husband. No, that's not my goal at all. I want to be a healthier, more empowered, whole, healed version of myself, because I believe that that is the number one recipe for a healthy relationship, for better finances, for better emotional health, for better running of my business. I believe that that is a recipe for all of that. That is a great foundation for all of that. So why did I create this video? I created this video to encourage you to know that you're not alone. If you've been struggling with lots of, like, a cocktail of feelings, you're like, what on earth is happening? If you've been struggling with big emotions, if you've been struggling with stress, if you've been struggling with anxiety, if you've been struggling with understanding where on earth are you, or figuring out how to ground yourself, if you've also been struggling with saying, yes, I want therapy, or yes, I need therapy, even that word rolling out of your tongue, the word therapy, I want you to know that it is not a weakness, it is a strength. It does not mean you're mad, or you're crazy, or you are out of control. It simply means that you are healthy enough to know that you need help beyond yourself, beyond your language, beyond the tools that you naturally have. You are in fact investing in a better version of yourself, because when you seek help from an expert, you're empowering yourself with more. So in fact, you're creating room for more in your life, more health, more peace, more abundance, whatever that looks like, more love, whatever that looks like. So I just wanted to create this video to encourage you that if you too have been struggling, please do seek therapy. Just like the way my friend told me, and she recommended me to seek therapy, to get help from therapists. Here I am. I'm already experiencing such beautiful things through the therapy, and I want to extend that grace to you as well. Please seek help through a therapist. You can reach out to Brenda. She's amazing. I mean, she has a wealth of experience in different types of therapy focuses. Please, you can reach out to her. She gave me permission to share her number, her phone number, her email address. Please do reach out to her, and I'm sure she would be of great help to you. Just from the first consultation, you will already start to see that, wow, this is something amazing, and she's quite affordable. I mean, you will see her prices. It's very affordable, considering these financial times. Okay, you can never ever go wrong, love. You can never ever go wrong by investing in yourself. It's always an asset. Whenever you invest in yourself, you're always opening up more room for more in your life, and that's what I desire for you. My heart goes out to each one of you who are really struggling, but also I want to encourage you that it is not the end. Whatever your current circumstance is right now, it has nothing to do with the person you'll be in your future. This is temporary. Your future is bright and is golden and is beautiful, and I want to empower you to know that it is possible. Seek help beyond yourself and you will get there. Okay? So that's all I have for you today. If you have something to share about this topic, please comment below. Let me know, have you worked with a therapist before? What are some of the things that you've been able to navigate through, or empower yourself through, or succeed through during this pandemic? Please comment below and share with me some of your experiences with therapy and some of the lessons that you've learned. And please comment below so that we keep sharing our stories, and I could learn something from you as well, right? So remember, this is Let's with Youre, an online safe space that I created to empower progressive women from all around the world, just like you and I, to thrive with purpose, and indeed to thrive as healthy, whole, healed women. Okay? Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.